Hey everyone, welcome back to Scream Dudes. We're sitting here today with Britta Görtz of Hiraes, one of the best and most famous vocal coaches in the world. And today she's going to share a little bit of her knowledge with us, particularly when it comes to some beginner tips for false chords and fry screaming.
And I can't fry scream.
One question we always get is tips for beginners. And we're not coaches ourselves, we just kind of figured out how to do it, but we're not the best people to give professional advice. So maybe, especially when it comes to false chords, I've seen a lot of courses, but nobody usually can explain really how can you start discovering your false chords. There's some better tutorials out there, some worse tutorials out there. In your experience as a vocal coach, what is the best way for people to maybe find their false chord and also their fry scream?
I'm not sure if there's really the best way. There are so many great tutorials out there, and my first advice would be to try not just one, but some of them, and to go with the tutorial or the person who did the tutorial where something just like clicks with you, because voices are very different, and people have different approaches of how to, like they have a different connection to their vocal apparatus. I like to start with the vibration of the vocal folds in the technique, whichever technique it is, because it is the first possible obstacle in the airway that our exhalation passes through if it's an exhale scream. What we want to do in a false chord, we want to achieve a very, very loose vocal cord vibration that is chaotic and not regular. A regular vocal cord vibration is just any kind of clean tone that you can make. And so to achieve that, there are different ways. Some people come from a sigh. I am not particularly a fan of the sighing because then excessive breathing can lead to other troubles later, but we want a passive interaction of the vocal folds. And all we need to do is like really just like an impulse from outside of the body. And this could be just be a little bouncy and a little annoyed. So I love the annoying part that many people do, but when you come like, it can happen and be good for some people. For some people, it ends up in a very sound, and we don't want that. So what I try with people is like, where you kind of you find a connection from the and try to be as quiet as possible and choose a low note. On a lower note, the vocal cords are more relaxed already. You can try any pitch, but usually for a low note. So when you go like and then you can also start from a sigh, so from a breathy sound. Yeah, and when we start on a slightly higher sound and we go into a lower note, we come from from more tension to less tension, and we can easier go from more tension to less tension and like kind of like exaggerate the looseness of the vocal folds. So it should not be forced. And one very good advice that I can give people is like to use your fingers as like a sort of sensor. So when you go like on a sound that you make when you eat your favorite food or when you think of your favorite food, and you kind of like touch your larynx and go and you feel how loose it is. It can be looser or a little tighter for different people. So this is like the kind of looseness that we want to train into in the beginning. And so when you make a sound, when you make like a noise and you feel it's like tight and you can't move it, then usually it's not very economic, and you should train into a direction of
That's actually a good point, because like a lot of our friends, when they try to do to scream like us, basically they go like something like that, like a lot of voice, a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, right? Because like obviously you associate screaming with being tense and loud. And my next question would be how to avoid that, but basically relaxation.
Yeah, and I think we should not think in tension and relaxation as a as a whole, but certain body parts need to be relaxed and certain body parts need tension. And the vocal folds in the false chord don't need tension, and the false vocal cords above the true chords, they don't have any muscles in particular that we can just like train them as a bodybuilder and give more force into them and then they move. This is not what's happening. And so there's way more tissue vibrating in a false chord than just the false chords. It happens to be that name, but the naming is kind of like maybe misleading. And so when you have that sound, this you can try to give more air pressure into that, like and stay passive here. And don't worry about the sound. Like if it's not the sound that you're going for, doesn't matter. We are on technique and not art yet. And so try to make that. And if it doesn't work, you can go also a different route. And for some people, ringing a doorbell works. And probably because we imitated a doorbell when we were little kids. And I don't mean like a ding dong thing, but a eh. You can do that. Yeah, and so we have more tissue involved. For some people, it will be the false chords. For some people, it will be the originoid cartilages. But like for the beginning, it really doesn't matter so much. We want to try to find a way to activate different parts in our larynx. And then when you go, try to like ease into it. Mm-hmm. So this can be a good way, and really like use as many outside censoring observations that you can get, because the vocal tract, like we cannot really feel much in here, like it's not tactile. So when you have your fingers as an observing sensor here, or you look at yourself in the mirror and you observe that you're doing like something like that kind of motion, or something like, you're sitting on the loo, then it's probably not the best way to do that. And for everyone who has troubles with like excess body pressure, that's like putting you down, lay down on the floor. So in a position where you don't have to hold yourself up, usually the tension of the body can get down a little bit, and like we don't want to go in a sit-up position for screaming. It should be like more like a stretched position and just really easy, and not expect like the best death metal growl of all times. Like we have time for that.
Interesting. So also like an exercise that people should really avoid doing, for example, I don't know, like cuffing or something that is really like no-go, or what is misleading in a way?
I think misleading is you have to warm up your voice before you try out. You will make sounds that will harm you, but it's always good to have a better connection to your voice and to do that warmed up. And then you might have like one or two more tries to do something. And when you feel like your voice is like very hoarse, tired, or creaky after that, do a good cool down and maybe take some notes to avoid the exercises that you tried. We have to try, we have to fail, but we have to fail smart.
That's a nice sentence. Wow. Really nice. And like we basically talk now about false chords, but you said like with the terms, it's not that easy and like not black and white all the time. Yeah. But of course there's like the other style, which is fry screaming, which like you taught us already a bit. I remember at Summer Breeze, because Eric and I, we had a phase where we wanted to go a bit more into the fry scream direction, but it never really worked out at all. Like
we have really practice reasons.
We had nothing released. Like there was even a 30-day challenge, but we were really bad with this. We were really bad with this.
Yeah, many people struggle with the fry scream, and I think a reason for that is there's not just the one fry scream technique. Fry screaming can sound very different in different people, and there's something that we call hyper-compressed fry, and not everyone is singing hyper-compressed fry. It's my go-to fry technique that I like found. I didn't learn it. I didn't even know what it was. It just was there all of a sudden. The fry screaming basis is always like the irregular creaking of the vocal cords, where they don't vibrate like in a way that we know from the clean singing. but it's also like an irregular vibration of the vocal folds. And what I observe in my teaching is that if you take the different parts that make up the recipe for example, a hypercompressed fry, you can train them separately, and that will increase the chance that you can combine it. And I like to describe it as in an ideal world. Of course, it's not black and white. There is a large gray area, but for breaking down a complex thing, you kind of sometimes have to simplify things that aren't so simple. So you need to keep that in mind. So the starting point for an irregular creaking, you can find that when you I ask someone, what time is it? And they're like, and there you have it. So it can be like a sound that you make when you think of something. Most people have irregular creaking in their speaking voice, like whenever there's a transition from one vowel to the other. And one thing that you can do is to record yourself for 10 minutes while you're on the phone with a friend, and then listen to it very carefully for sounds that are like this a little bit. And then maybe you find a very natural way of going into that, and you can just make it happen voluntarily. And so what we can do is and try to stop the vocal cords. It's like almost like you grab a piece of paper. It's gentle, but it's a stop. You can try that.
In the head voice.
Yeah, it's there. Good. Yeah, we can also a lower note. Very good. Yeah.
This was the direction we want to go.
Yes, that's the direct. That's what we call irregular creaking. Was many people call that vocal fry, but there are people who say that vocal fry is like an umbrella term for more than one vocal cord vibration. But we need the irregular creaking for the fry scream. So it's actually an irregular creaking scream. When you want to put it like that, but like that's too technical. So we're looking for this kind of like noisy sound, and I mean fry is like, potato chips in hot oil, so it's the more better, probably. And so the next thing that you can try is to make a transition from a clean note and be quiet into a creaking and out, and try to not lower the note. That's the part that we need to learn. And not You want to try that?
I can't even do that with force because we always practice it in our coaching sessions.
Wonderful.
Talent.
Wow, that works so much better than when it was at home.
Okay, we do a trick now when that happens. We try to go up for the creaking and down for the low note, for the clean sound. So, and now lower the contrast between the two. Very good. Yeah. And so what you can do, you can train that with a keyboard. If you don't have a keyboard, you can have an app on your phone. It really doesn't matter. And then you try go from somewhere around your speaking level. And so on and so forth, and try to stick to the vowel. So another false friend that can happen here, like a common, it's not a mistake, but it's just like steering away from the path that we want to go. It's like, it's good to be able to do that, but if you're like, you prepare yourself for lyrics.
This we don't want to do.
we don't want to do lyrics. I mean, even blah is a lyric. So, but it's to be precise, and I mean, every vowel has a different kind of setting in the larynx with the tongue and everything, and we want to be able to go from any kind of angle and direction into that creaky sound. So that can be a part that you can just train and learn, and if you don't know any kind of further step, this is a very good basis to start, and this is like your ABCs, like really. And then the next thing is like to learn for the hypercompressed fries, to learn the kind of compression that we want to go with, and this is the tricky thing. The best thing that I can describe it with is like the Mongolian throat singing style in Khoomei. It's a very, very narrow larynx, but without kind of like altering the vibration on the vocal cords. So everyone can go like and press everything together. But what we want to do is actually favor the part above the vocal cords going up to your epiglottis. That's the lid that closes when you swallow food. And narrow that. And then the clean tone stays intact. We can go with a little karate. No, not bad. That's really good. So, and what you also can, I mean, it's called the epiglottic sphincter, the AES. So it's a muscle coordination that closes above the vocal cords completely when we puke. So when you make like little pukey imitations, not with a lot of force, not loud, not hard, you feel something close, right? Very good.
This is
yeah. You have the tendency to take on a throaty position where you kind of like do the Kermit, but we need the goat for a start. Yeah. Very good.
That's what I was doing at home, and I'm like,
Very good.
sounds like someone is like
Yeah.
him.
But then again, like some people find the hypercompressed fry is something that they have, they can grasp it and kind of get, and some people don't. So I would say start with what is naturally coming out and build from there. In the end, everything is connected, and the more versatility you have in kind of like addressing the different parts that are in here that we can't see and we can't feel, and it's so close together, the easier you will have it later as you progress in your vocal journey to find other different parts. Like I saw a video just yesterday on Instagram, and someone did something that I have not the slightest able to do. And this is just something like, okay, I want to learn this. I know what I would have to do on a muscular level, but the knowledge alone doesn't do me any good. I cannot do that. And this is just like a really cool goal for me to do. But it never stops. I'm doing this for half my life, and the fascination never stops. And my best advice that I can give to people out there, you want to have fun with your voice. You have one voice, so you better take care of it. And you do your warm-ups, and you hydrate and all that stuff, and then you can experiment and go into the danger zone a little longer.
One last question before we end. How long should people expect to take to get like the first false chord or fry out? Because I know it's also for us it was very frustrating in the beginning, because it kind of like sometimes trigger your false a little bit, but then you lose it again. Like how long does it usually take your students to have like this part that you just explained to us, right?
Okay, let's not speak of the people who are blessed and can just do it when they hear it. We wish them luck on their vocal journey, and we envy them. I would say for the majority of people, false chord is a little easier to achieve because it can be achieved with force. It's not economic then, but you can get an idea of the sound and what is kind of moving, and then I work a lot with them on how to, slide in a little looser and easier. But I would say for many people, the first false chord activation starts probably in the first or second lesson already. For some, it takes longer, maybe like 6, 7, 8 lessons, usually for people who are very cautious and afraid they might hurt themselves. And it's okay to take your time. You are afraid of that for a specific reason, and we want to work with that and not against that. This doesn't work. So I would say between 2 and 10 hours is just like where I would say it's the average person that comes to me, at least. So I don't know all the people that don't come to me. And for a fry scream, I would say 4 months is like probably 4 months intense training and a lot of frustration and trusting the process. So like I can probably you can probably join a support group for that, like for people who really want to do a fry scream and can't. But I would say if you train 3 to 4 times a week, and you have a structured training and you have your goals and you understood the exercise, and you don't have any naturally given talent from let me up there, I'd say probably 4 months.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I also taught fry screaming to people that kind of like went into the topic and out of the topic for like 2 years or longer because they gave it up for a while because they were frustrated, and then all of a sudden it's like there, like it's, and then it's like, oh, that where the understanding comes. So yeah,
takes some time, but it doesn't mean like, I know it was the last question, but it doesn't mean like that fry scream is then more difficult, or can we say this just because it takes more time? When I started, I would never expected it, to be honest.
I would say that a false chord might be in our daily vocal sounds, and that fry screams are probably not in our daily vocal sounds. So I think the body is more used to like, oh, this dude again, or like, oh, this is like a natural sound for us. And also the that part of the fry, yes, but the yay, hey, probably not.
See you next time. What's the lowest you can go? Oh.
That's pretty damn low.
Mid?
Oh! Ow!
Ow! Ow! High?
Oh.
It's not the highest, but it's like, yeah! That was terrible. Yeah!
This is
That was decent. Okay, Leute.
gut.
Nicht mehr.